fact occurs or is attempted. Okay. So orders the commission of such a crime, it needs to be a specific crime, right? Which in fact occurs or is attempted, right? So here we have an order which does not include, it's not specific, does not include a specific crime, right? So it wouldn't fall under 25.3b. If there was an order, a specific one, right, to intimidate them or force labor, which is prohibited, okay? So make them work without paying them, right? Then that would be specific, right? But would she have liability? Then the fact that for which part she will have liability? For camp X or camp Z? Because you give a specific order which is in fact attempted, okay, or committed or attempted. The crime is either committed or attempted. So, in which part, for which camp she would perhaps, for which she would have responsibility?
It's only the camp that was under her command, because if you need a superior-junior relationship, subordinate relationship, then if she doesn't have command over camp X, then she wouldn't be liable for that.
Okay, but she has command for both camps.
She has command?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. But in which camp you have prisoners of war, where you can... Okay. Yes. So for the first camp, because there are the prisoners of war, the command, the order, okay, can be implemented. Because it says that it gives order for the commission of such a crime, specific crime, which in fact occurs or is attempted, right? So for the first, for camp X, you have prisoners of war. Of course, they go and do whatever, right? So if there's a specific order, forced labor, they do it. So she can be responsible for ordering it. What about camp Z? Would she be responsible?
She should not, because it cannot even be attempted.
Yeah.
There can't be any accusation like this.
Okay, so she can, attempt, what is attempt? What is to attempt something?
She's done it.
Sorry? When do you have attempt? It's when you take substantial steps to commit a crime, but the crime is not committed, either because you give up or because of objective circumstances. Okay. So for camp Z, unless they were going there and ready, to do stuff, otherwise there isn't liability. The whole thing, the way it is defined here, raises the question of whether orders should be criminalized as such, irrespective of whether they have been implemented. Okay? So whether ordering for international criminal law can be what is called an inchoate crime. You know what is an inchoate crime? What is it? Inchoate crime is like incitement to genocide, that you don't need the act to be committed if there is, actually what is criminalized is the risk of something being committed. And the reason I'm saying that is because with commanders, you have a subordinate relationship, between a hierarchical relationship between commanders and subordinates, right? And subordinates, the trained is headed to follow the orders of the commanders. And soldiers, they're not always very kind of versed into international criminal law, humanitarian law. Sometimes they can't even write or read, right? So they expect the commanders to tell them what to do. And you don't have time to think in the battlefield. So you expect the commander to tell you what to do. So if a commander, and also the humanitarian law, and of course criminal law, is respect for humanitarian law depends on the commander. So the commander, okay, that's why we're going to talk about commander responsibility later. Commanders are responsible for the respect of humanitarian law. They should know, so they should act within the law, which means that they should give proper orders, they should give lawful orders, and they should give specific orders. Okay. Otherwise, you run the risk. Okay. If you give an unlawful order, okay, the soldier may claim superior orders, yes, but the crimes will be committed, and the soldier does not necessarily understand, what's the difference between, a terrorist, a combatant, etc. Follows, the commander. So, or if you give a very vague order, okay, the soldiers can do, they can interpret the way they want. So they may commit a crime. So there is, if you like, some kind of debate whether the ordering in itself should be criminalized as an inchoate crime because of the risk that crimes may be committed if you don't give proper orders or if you don't give lawful orders. Okay, so that scenario here, which is taken from real facts, okay, so it's not imaginary, that had to do with the British in Basra in Iraq, where the commander said to the soldiers, work hard the Iraqi detainees, and of course the soldiers worked them hard by abusing them, by torturing them, whatever. So he went to the court, and of course the court said that there's no responsibility for the commander because he did, and he said it, I didn't give this order, I didn't give the order to torture them. That's the fault of the soldiers. So the soldiers were punished, whereas the commander who gave this vague order, he was not punished. Okay. So there is a kind of debate, if you like, whether ordering in itself should be criminalized because of the substantial risk that crimes may be committed because of the order. Okay. Now, if we go to the second scenario, who wants to take the lead for the second scenario? Who wants to read it out first, and then we can discuss it together. Closer to me, so you will be unlikely.
Tank driver Joyce tells her weapon operator Sheila to a silent ammunition dump, although she knows that it is a hospital. Is Joyce criminally responsible? Would she be criminally responsible if Sheila knew that it is in fact a hospital?
Good. Okay.
what would be meaning of shell and ammunition dump? I mean, like bomb that.
Or you shell it, with shells. But it's a war crime because that's a hospital. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if it is a hospital and you destroy it, that's a war crime because it's civilian. It's a civilian object, so you don't attack hospitals. Okay. So
does this situation define a circumstance whereby Joyce is misleading Sheila?
Yes.
Saying that a hospital is actually
Yes. Yeah. So which part of Article 25? So you may not have a hierarchical relationship here, okay? So there may be the equal level. So you have a tank, right? So you have the driver can see. Sorry, no. Sorry, the driver is in the tank and depends on the person who is on the top, to tell where to go, what to do, etc.
Would it be provision A, commit such a crime whether as an individual, jointly with another, or through another person, regardless of whether that other person is criminally responsible?
Excellent. But which part of that? There are three. So it is commit a crime as an individual, jointly with another, or through another person. Sorry? Through another person. The third part. Right. Okay. So 25.3a is about the perpetration of a crime. It's about the primary perpetrator of the crime. Okay. So the first part, when it says whether as an individual, it's about the perpetrator. It means that the person has the mens rea and the actus reus. So he's the person that commits the crime. For the second, we're going to see it's a different case. But if we go to this third aspect, which is commit a crime through another person, right? So if I commit a crime through another person, then I am the perpetrator, irrespective of whether the other person is also criminally responsible. Okay. So it's the primary. Who is the primary perpetrator? Okay. So what is for this kind of perpetration through another person? Okay. What are the elements? So what is the actus reus, the mens rea, etc. So when you can say that you commit a crime through another person?
Mens rea would be instigating someone to do something, making that person believe that under the law he or she is empowered to do that, because Joyce is seen telling Sheila that it's an ammunition dump,
Okay.
under the expectation that Sheila will believe it to be so and shell the dump.
Okay. The mens rea is that I want to commit the specific crime. Okay. It's not instigate. So, I'm going to kill person X, for example, and I'm using you to do that, but I want, to kill that person, right? So it's that you want to commit the crime, right? So you are using the other person as an instrument. The other person is the instrument, right, for you to commit the crime. So the, if you like, the objective elements of this crime is, these are the crimes, they call it, you control the will of the person. Okay, it's either because the person, because of the circumstances cannot have his or her own opinion, or because of the age of the person, or because of whatever circumstances, or because there's an organization, okay, which you control. So you have people, because of the training, hierarchy, etc. If you control an organization and people act automatically to what you say, so you control the will of the people, right? So it's the control of the will of the people. No, the people or organization, it is an organization of an organization. Okay. So in this case, you have what's the name? Joyce, who is the tank driver. She can see, right? She wants, to attack the hospital, right? To commit a war crime. But she takes advantage of Sheila, right? Sheila cannot see, so she's in a position that she's dependent on the driver. So she controls, the mind and the will of the driver. She cannot see. Whatever Joy says, you go left, go right, shell. Okay. So she controls the mind and the will of Sheila. And okay, Sheila then shares the hospital. So Joyce then is the perpetrator of the war crime, okay, of attacking a civilian objects. Right. However, 25A says that Sheila, the instrument, if you like, the other person who is the instrument, the perpetrator can be liable even if the instrument is responsible. Okay. So in that scenario, for example, even if Sheila knew or whatever, and wanted to do the same crime, then Joyce would be also responsible for the crime. So for the same crime, okay, you can have Joyce being responsible, but also Sheila, right? Does it make any sense to you? Or we can perhaps need to see it differently. Of course, 25.3a is clear about that. Okay. In order to prevent, for example, you can the instrument may perhaps claim that it depends that he was intoxicated or whatever it is, and the instrument, may be not found guilty. So they wanted to find someone guilty. So, okay, the perpetrator, the person that controlled the instrument is responsible. But the question here is that if the instrument has the mens rea and the actus reus, okay, can be found guilty. But why should be also the the controlling person? It's not any kind of control. Okay. The whole idea about committing a crime through another person or using him or her as an instrument is that your mens rea goes through that person and reaches the actus reus. Okay, so the actus reus is linked to your mens rea because that person is innocent. Okay, so your mens rea goes through that person. Now, if that person is not innocent, right, wants to do something, then it blocks your mens rea. Okay. So the question then here is whether in that case you are aiding and abetting the person to do something, right? Which is a different kind of liability, right? It's for aiding someone to commit a crime. So whereas the person that is the perpetrator of the crime, right, is the other person, what appears to be here different. Okay. So for example here, if Sheila knew that it was a hospital, she wanted to share the hospital, and then so she had the material, the actus reus as well. So of course, you know, she's responsible, right, for a war crime. But then what Joy says, okay, come on, you know, just share that thing. It's like aiding you, you know, providing moral support, if you like, because aiding is also through, it's not only physical means, but also through moral support. Okay, aiding you to commit a crime. Okay, so that's also it's a debate here, but Article 25(3)(a), of course, says that irrespective of the criminal responsibility of the instrument, the perpetrator is still responsible for the act, but there can be other ways of looking into the issue, and perhaps treating the perpetrator, the person that controls, if you like, as aiding and abetting in the commission of the crime, whereas the other person that does it is the primary perpetrator of the crime. Okay, if we go to the next one. Who wants to read it out first? Then?
During the interrogation of prisoners of war, Commander Joyce is in her office, which is situated next to the interrogation chamber, and therefore able to hear the sound of electric shocks and the prisoner's cries. However, she did not give any specific order to use such methods. Is she criminally liable?
Good. Okay, so Commander Joyce is an awful person. She does all these kind of crimes. Okay, so any ideas?
Article 28.
Article 28, good. So Article 28 is about what?
Responsibility of commanders or other superiors.
Okay, it's what is called, now it's called superior responsibility because it's also responsibility of civilians, but the kind of traditional term is command responsibility, like the responsibility of commanders. Okay. Right, so very good. You identify the law. Now tell us what are the conditions, what are the criteria for command responsibility?
Article 28(a)(1) says that the military commander or person either knew or aware to the circumstance at the time should have known that the forces were committing or about to commit such crime.
Good.
And in this case, Commander Joyce was in the adjacent office and she could reasonably know that they were committing crimes against humanity in treatment towards prisoners of war.
Okay.
And she was in a position to stop them as she was superior, but she didn't take any effective measures.
Excellent, good. So command responsibility is that, first of all, there needs to be a hierarchical relationship. Okay. So it's you have a superior subordinate, so you have a hierarchical relationship. Okay? But the hierarchical relationship is not only de jure, like formal, but it has to be also de facto, because the commander needs to exercise effective control. So, for example, if I'm a commander of troops and they are dispersed all over the place, somewhere that I have no communication, yes, I'm the commander, but in formal terms, but in factual terms, I can do nothing. So if I know that the troops are doing stuff, I can do nothing. Okay. So command responsibility arises when, of course, if you have formal command and formal control, but you need to have effective control, which is factual control. Okay. If you don't, then you cannot be held liable. And command responsibility is not only, of course, if you have military, in a military structure, yes, because you have these superiors, officers, soldiers, etc. But also in groups, armed groups, okay, they can have commanders, but civilians that play the role of commander, okay, they can go under command responsibility, not under civilian responsibility. So if you have whatever group, for example, and then there are civilians, they take up arms, right? So you have a civilian that acts as a commander. Okay, it's a kind of military, but well, he wasn't in the army, or she wasn't in the army, was a civilian that acts as a military commander. Then it's under command responsibility, the military. Okay, not the civilian. So the important thing is the hierarchical relationship, but that the commander has effective control of the troops, okay? Which means that the commander, I said before that the commanders are responsible for respecting and enforcing humanitarian laws. That's one of the most important things for the respect of humanitarian law, which means that the commanders should take action, take preventive action. They should enforce. If they know something, they can detain the soldiers. They can, do whatever it is in their power, right, to prevent or punish. Okay, that's why commanders have this responsibility. So there needs to be a hierarchical relationship. Right. The second element is that the commander knows or should have known, according to the ICC statute, that troops are about to commit crimes or they have committed crimes, right? And the commander fails to punish, to prevent, or punish. And the additional thing for the ICC statute is that it has the causality. Okay, it says that because of this failure, the troops are committing the crimes, which can be debated. Anyway, going to the mental element, is the commander knows or should have known. Okay, to know can be, if you like, actual knowledge. Okay, you are there, etc. So you know what is happening. But it's not always the case that we have actual knowledge. So the knowledge can be constructed, okay, based on circumstantial evidence. Okay, so if there are reports in newspapers that crimes are committed, if you receive reports, irrespective of whether if you were near the area, if you know, it's time, place, the type of acts that are committed, that you know, on may have committed them, etc. So on the basis of circumstantial evidence, okay, you can establish that the commander knew that his troops, you know, are committing or they're about to commit. The command, okay, I'll put it in the should have known. So this is the actual knowledge. But the commander should have known as well. Okay, now the should have known is what kind of standard? It refers to kind of negligence, or, well, first of all, it's due diligence, okay? And if the commander should have known and didn't know, he's responsible, right? Because of negligence. So should have known is a wider criterion, which means that the commander should have put in place all the mechanisms that would have allowed the commander to know of what the soldiers are doing. So the commander will have a good reporting system. Okay, so everything is reported back to the commander. Okay, they should have known is a wider criterion, which refers to negligence. The tribunals, the ICTR, ICTY, they speak about had reasons to know. And had reasons to know is a high threshold, which means that, had reasons to know, which means that you have information which would have put you on notice that things are happening. Okay. For the ICC statute is the should have known, which is the negligence, that you have to do everything in your power to find out what the soldiers are doing. And that shows how important is the role of the commander, right? And if any of you wants to go to the army or become lawyer for the army, it's commanders, you know, they play a very important role. Okay, so that's the mental element. And then the commander needs to prevent or punish, of course. To prevent, of course, is when the commander knows that soldiers are about. And that covers not only to commit a specific crime, but also if the commander knows that the soldiers may aid in the commission of a crime. Okay, so any kind of input or form of participation in the commission of the crime, right, means that the commander needs to act. So if the commander knows that they're about, then to prevent, take measures to prevent. Okay, detain them, send them somewhere else. Kind of order them to do whatever. But it has also to do with other things, with training, commander is to train them, etc., to avoid any kind of illegality being committed. If the commander, if they have already committed crimes, then the commander needs to punish them. Of course, he needs to do things within his power, because we talk now about battlefield, right? You don't have, you don't have courts there. You have to send them back to be tried, right? But then you have to detain them. You have to send them back to be tried, etc. Okay, so you need to do things within your power. Now, in this situation, does it satisfy all these criteria? Is there a hierarchical relationship?
Yes.
There is. Okay. Is it that Joyce, Commander Joyce, knows or should have known?
She knows.
Knows. It's again, of course, this circumstantial evidence. We shouldn't say I didn't know, of course. But then circumstantial evidence. Okay, you were next to the room. You know, you could hear things, etc. You cannot say that you didn't know, right? Of course, you said that yes, I knew. Fine. Otherwise, it's circumstantial evidence, right? She knows that bad things are happening. So the soldiers need to commit a crime within the crimes, international crimes. Not, if it is a different crime, which is not an international crime, it's a completely different thing, right? So they need to commit one of the crimes. So she knew that soldiers were maltreating prisoners of war, which is a war crime, and here she didn't prevent, right? Now, sorry.
Can we say that she did not prevent? Because from the situation given, it seems that the situation is silent regarding what she did after coming to know.
Sorry?
She was whether she did anything to prevent these soldiers from carrying out these activities or not. The situation given is silent about that, because it's stated that, however, she did not give any specific order to use such methods. Fine. But it's not stated that whether she actually took some steps to prevent, because if she does take any steps to prevent, then I believe she should not be held to be criminally liable under Article 20.
Yeah, if she takes steps, yes, she's not criminally liable. But if she doesn't, right, then she's criminally liable. Now, the next question is whether under command responsibility, and that's a very tricky issue, whether the commander is responsible for the acts of the subordinates. Okay, so for example, if the subordinates commit genocide, right, and the commander failed to prevent the commission of genocide, is the commander under command responsibility responsible for genocide, or responsible for his or her dereliction of duty to prevent or to punish, if the commander knows? That's very important. Okay. Because if it's genocide, we talk about the double intent, etc. So if it is the prevention, okay, I know that my soldiers are going to commit genocide. Well, I find out, or I should have known, but I didn't, right? I'm negligent. Okay, I should have known. I didn't put the right system, I didn't know, etc. Okay, my soldiers committed genocide, right? I'm negligent. Well, you cannot be liable for a double intent crime, genocide, through negligence. That's absurd. Okay? Do you understand the problem? Okay. The ICC statute says that you are responsible for the crimes of the subordinates. So if the subordinates commit genocide, you are responsible for genocide. If they commit war crimes, for whatever war crime they commit. Okay. Crimes against humanity, whatever. For the ICTY, in cases, well, the jurisprudence wasn't very clear. So some cases are that you are responsible for the crimes. Other cases are that you are responsible in relation to the crimes. And there's the cases, the Hassanovic case, it's in your handout, the Halilovic case, where the court says that command responsibility is responsibility for the dereliction of your duty of due diligence. Okay, so you are not responsible for the crimes committed by your subordinates, you are responsible for failing in your duty as a commander to prevent or punish. And depending on what kind of crime they commit, you can have more or less punishment. Okay. In my view, this is the correct approach. However, the ICT, takes a completely different approach. Now, if you don't prevent, but then you go ahead and you punish them, you're still responsible, right? Because otherwise it wouldn't work. Okay, I want to commit a crime or something, so I don't prevent it. They go ahead, my soldiers, and do it, and then I'm punishing them, right? So if you know that they're about, you prevent. If you, for whatever reason, you didn't know, etc., and you find out later that they have committed, you punish. It's not that, if you do one of them, you're okay, right? However, this case can raise another issue. So you can leave under command responsibility. Can you say that the fact that she is present, and perhaps the soldiers know that she's in the next room, right? And the fact that the soldiers know that she's there, and she's their commander, okay? And the soldiers say that they know that, okay, what we're doing is not good, right? But our commander is there, next door, she doesn't say anything. Do you think that can be aiding and abetting in the commission of the crime? And what's the difference then? What are the elements of aiding and abetting? The actus reus mens rea. And how then you can distinguish command responsibility from, in that scenario, command responsibility from aiding and abetting in the commission of the crime? So aiding and abetting in Article 25 is, can someone read it out? It's 25.3. See? Do you want to read it out?
For the purpose of facilitating the commission of such a crime, aids, abets, or otherwise assists in its commission or its attempted commission, including providing the means for its commission.
Good. So aiding and abetting. What is the actus reus for aiding and abetting? How you can aid, assist someone committing a crime? How?
Including providing the means for its commission. In this case, she did not provide the means.
Okay. One is the means, like physical. You give them weapons, you give them whatever. Okay, can be physical, right?
It can be construed as implicit consent, right? Because it's abetment through omission. So that's why, yeah.
So then the two other things is, can you morally aid or abet someone? Yes. Okay. So in addition to physical assistance, can be moral assistance. So in addition to act, as your colleague said, aiding and abetting can also include omissions, right, in international criminal law. If there was a duty to act, okay, if there was a duty to act and you fail to act, that may be interpreted as aiding. So if as a soldier, right, I know that, okay, I'm doing something bad, but I'm expecting my commander to punish me, right? And because it's his duty or her duty to do that, but the commander doesn't do it, well, I think that perhaps, she or he is okay with that, right? It's a signal that what I'm doing is okay, right? So you can have omissions. The mens rea is that you intend, you want to aid and abet with the knowledge of your aid that is going to help the commission of a crime. So the knowledge that you're going to help the commission of a crime. The jurisprudence by the ad hoc tribunals, they add another requirement that your aid or assistance should be substantial, should contribute substantially to the commission of the crime. Okay. So it's not any aid or assistance, but something that can contribute substantially. That is not included in Article 25(3)(c). But what is included in 25(3)(c) is the mens rea, which is for the purpose of the commission. So you aid in order to assist the commission of a crime. Okay, so it has a higher, if you like, mental element. So for the purpose of, what it says, for the purpose of?
In 25(3)(c?
Yes, for the purpose.
For the purpose of facilitating the commission of...
Okay, for the purpose of facilitating. So it's not any kind of aid, it's specific for the purpose of facilitating the commission of the crime. So here, for example, you may say that the fact that she's next door, soldiers are doing what they're doing, she is providing moral support to the soldiers, in particular, through her omission, by not doing anything, right? Where soldiers would have expected that, she needs to do something, right? But for 25(3)(c), what needs to be proven is that she does it in order to assist the commission of the crime, right? So the difference between command responsibility and aiding and abetting is the mental element. Okay. So for command responsibility, it's not because you want to assist the commission of the crime, right? So you if you don't prevent a crime because you want to assist the soldiers to commit a crime, this is aiding and abetting, right? So it's the mental element of, say, the commander. Okay. If the commander just didn't prevent because he's negligent, okay, that's command responsibility. If the commander omits to do something in order to facilitate the commission of the crime, right, that's aiding and abetting. Okay. So the mens rea is what can be appreciated, which, things may be similar. Of course, in the jurisprudence of the ICTY, they say that the commander made himself available or made himself or herself present. So it's not like, okay, by chance I'm next door. It's that in order to say that it's aiding and abetting, the commander, makes himself or herself available, present, so the soldiers, know that the person is there. Okay, so it's something more than just coincidence that I happen to be there, right? And the soldiers do not know that I'm there. Okay. Shall we have 10 minutes break? We can move then to the next scenario. Who wants to read it out? Any kind person?
Go for it.
On their way to a certain village, a
Good.
group of soldiers were looking for the
I
ferocity.
owe you, lunch or something.
For the ferocity of their attacks on villages are lost in the woods. They meet soldiers, Archibald and Arthur, who recognize the group because of their insignia. Archibald and Arthur give them directions and sell their new pistols at a very high price. The group finds the village and kills its inhabitants. Are Archibald and Arthur criminally liable?
Good. What do you think?
Violation 25(3)(d).
Okay. Can you kind of
Well, let me,
explain?
yeah. The ingredients of 25(3)(d) are that they contribute to the commission of an attempted commission of such a crime by a group of persons acting with a common purpose, and such contribution shall be intentional. Over here, it's intentional is selling the pistols, if I'm not wrong. And it should be done with the aim of furthering the criminal activity or criminal purpose of that group, and be made in the knowledge of the intention of that group. Now, these people recognize the insignia of these group of soldiers who are well known for the ferocity of the attacks on villages. So it goes directly with 25(3)(d)(2).
Okay, good. Can it be aiding and abetting? Like what we discussed before, like under C, 25(3)(c. Oh, yes.
Because they were providing the means for its commission.
Yes.
So I think that would constitute abetment.
Okay. But it says for the purpose of facilitating the commission of such a crime. Okay, so sorry.
Does it mean a specific crime? So they have to have the intention.
Okay, first of all, of such a crime, which means a specific crime, right? Second, it says for the purpose of facilitating, right? It's a higher threshold, mens rea threshold, for the purpose of facilitating. Okay, so of course they meet them. They know who they are. They know that they're bad, but do they know that they're going to commit a specific crime? I mean, they may know that they commit crimes, but they don't know that they're going to commit a specific crime of such a crime, right? And then it's for the purpose. So they sell them the guns to get money. Okay. So is it for the purpose of facilitating the commission of the crime? Okay. Or is it to earn money, okay, to make a profit or something, right? So perhaps C is not the right approach, and then it is D, as your colleague said. 5.
Soldiers Lee, Liam, and Leroy form the Avengers group that randomly beats up civilians in an occupied territory to teach them a lesson. During one such session, they are joined by Soldier Lyndon. In the melee, Lee kills one civilian. Is Lyndon criminally liable?
Article 25(3)(a) that they commit a crime jointly.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so we start from there. Okay, so we be so kind then to explain what is the actus reus and mens rea. So it's the joint commission of a crime. Okay, it's the co-perpetration, right?
So would Article 25(3)(d) also apply?
3D part 1.
Yeah, 3D part 1.
Okay, all right, can we start from first A and then we move there. So, co-perpetration. So what is co-perpetration? I mean, perpetrator is the one that has the mens rea and actus reus and does it, right? Co-perpetration is when you have or joint commission of the crime, okay? So you have more than one people that have the common mens rea and actus reus. So co-perpetration is when, say, the participants, they control the crime. Okay, so you need to have a kind of agreement. I mean, the agreement is not formal, but between a group of people to commit a crime. Okay, a crime within the jurisdiction of the court. They have the subjective element, all of them, to commit the crime. Right. So there's, you know, all of us, you know, being criminals, we get together, we decided, you know, to commit murder against whoever, or murders. So there's this kind of group of people with a common plan, criminal plan, you know, and they have this subjective element that all of them, they want to commit the crime. Everyone does an essential contribution of the actus reus of the crime. They are aware that by doing parts of the actus reus, the crime will be committed, and they know that their part or their contribution is essential for the commission of the crime. So everyone has control over the commission of the crime. They have the mens rea and they have the actus reus. They do the actus reus, and without that, the thing wouldn't have been, the crime would not have been committed. So, does it apply here? So do you have this kind of group of people with a common plan to commit a crime? Okay, you have a group. Okay. Now the fact that they're joined by Lyndon, as I said, it's not necessarily that you need to have an agreement or whatever. It's factual. You are part. You become part of the group. You share the purposes. Okay. But do they have an agreement to commit a crime?
The existence of the arrangers group is a fact which goes on to show that they have committed a crime.
What crime? So the group, they go together because they want to beat up.
Crime against humanity would be the
To beat up civilians in an occupied territory to teach them a lesson. The crime against humanity. Okay, may not be the but any other inhumane act. Okay, so it may be a crime, but it's not identified because it can be, many different crimes. Okay, so there's a question mark here as to whether there's a common plan to commit a crime, right? Okay, to beat up people. If you go out, I don't know, say in England any Saturday night, everyone is beating each other because they get drunk. So it's not necessarily, But here you can question whether there's a common plan to commit a crime, right? If there was, okay. So all of them, including Lyndon, are part of this group. They have a common purpose to commit a crime. Perhaps, they work together. Someone holds, the other person stabs. But so if the crime was to beat, if you say crime against humanity, or torture, or inhumane treatment, they kill them. They kill him. Is it within the common purpose? Say the initial plan? It isn't. Okay. So what do you do then?
But if it's foreseeable that this sort of beating up may result in the death penalty, could it be said that it does constitute a common purpose?
Okay. So it's only if you prove that that was reasonably foreseeable. Okay. That from you have the initial purpose, to do something, and would the killing is reasonably foreseeable. Okay. If you beat up someone, you may end up by killing the person, right? So in that sense, you can say that they are co-perpetrators to the killing. So all of them, okay, would be, and even if Lyndon didn't do anything about it, but he didn't kill Yulan, everyone contributed to the killing. Okay. You wanted to say 25? D? So D, the problem with D is that you have a group of persons and then you have someone else AD, whereas here it's part of the group. Okay. Have you heard of joint criminal enterprise? This mode of liability, joint criminal enterprise. For example, I don't know if you have it in Indian law, so like gangs, for example, criminal gangs, etc. Do you have this criminal enterprise, joint criminal enterprise? Similar?
Common intention.
Okay. So in international criminal law, particular, it's not under the statute, the ICC statute. Some parts of D may be included. That was particularly with the ICC. Of course, when you have war and massive criminality, okay, people get obsessed, mad, so they do things. So it's very difficult to find who did what, right? And where's the mens rea, the actus reus. So joint criminal enterprise is that you take a group, and if the members of the group commit a crime, then all the members are responsible for the crime. So the elements, there are three types of joint criminal enterprise. So the basic elements, okay, is that you have a group of people with a common plan to commit a crime, an international crime, okay, genocide, crimes against humanity, war crime, or oppression, okay. So the first kind of type of joint criminal enterprise is that, and the difference with co-perpetration, right, is that all these people, what criminalizes the intent? They have the intent or the purpose to commit a specific crime, murder. So everyone is charged, prosecuted, say for murder, irrespective of their contribution to the act. So what criminalizes is the aim they have. So someone can just aid you. So someone went to, I don't know, buy the knife, right? And someone else stabbed the person. So the person who bought the knife is responsible for murder. Okay. There are, certain questions as to whether it removes far away from international criminal law or criminal law in general, which is based on individual criminal responsibility. You have the mens rea, the actus reus, etc. Co-perpetration is different because, as I said, everyone has control over the act, whereas with joint criminal enterprise, you are kind of removed, sometimes far away from the act, like you can just aid or provide moral support, etc. But if you are part of this group with a common plan, then you're charged for the final act. And of course, if the final act is not within the common plan, but it is reasonable, foreseeable, then it is, whatever is the other act. So with joint criminal enterprise, it's easier to prosecute people. Okay. If there's massive criminality, if you take criminal enterprises, mafia-like, or whatever it is, you don't know who did what. They work as a group, so someone brings the money, others the weapons, others do the reconnaissance, etc. So you catch all of that. Okay. The second type of And of course there is the intent to commit the final. That unites them. So the second type of joint criminal enterprise is what's called the institutional one. So if there is a place like detention center, etc., where mass criminality takes place, right? And you make a substantive contribution, and you have knowledge of what is happening, so you are charged for what's happening. Okay, so if you are in a detention camp, and you know the torture takes place, right, and you are a guard there, right, and you know what's happening, then you're prosecuted for torture, for the crime against humanity, or for crime or torture. Now, if you are the cleaner who cleans the blood, you're not charged for torture because you don't make, you don't expect the place where you torture to be clean, so you don't make an essential contribution to the act. Okay, so that's the second type of joint criminal enterprise. And the third type is what's called the incidental one, okay, which is, again, you have a group of people with a common plan, etc. Right? But one member, for whatever reason, wants to do something different, changes, so has a different plan. Okay. So someone has criminal enterprise to torture, and then some said, no, I want to kill. So that's my plan. In that case, the other members of the joint criminal, from the other members of the joint criminal enterprise, it's only the person who knew that that specific person had a different plan and took the risk and accepted that he may or she may materialize it. So it's like recklessness, okay? Knew, but accepted the risk, okay? So if we apply this thing in the scenario here, okay? So we have a group, say that there is a common plan to torture or inhumane treatment, etc. So Lyndon is member of the plan. As I said, membership does not depend on formalities, etc. You participate, you do something like mafia, you have to kiss the hand of the patron, the leader. So the question here is either whether you have joint criminal enterprise, the first type, where you have a foreseeable, okay, they had this plan, but there was a foreseeable, the killing was foreseeable, so the beat up and the killing is foreseeable. So that's the first type of joint criminal enterprise. Whereas for co-perpetration, as we said, is you need to have control. All the members need to have control of the crime through mens rea and actus reus. Or it can be the third type, okay, where Lee suddenly, had a revelation and said, I want to kill, not to beat. So in that case, it's only if Lyndon knew that Lee wanted to kill. Okay. So in that case, Lyndon would be responsible for the killing, as well as Lee. Okay. Whereas the others would not be responsible for the killing. And if we go to the final one, so who wants to read it out?
professor of anthropology, has done research on the genetic inferiority of Group A. Group A and B live in the state of utopia and they constitute the state's two racial groups. He has published his findings in academic journals. Recently, he published an academic manuscript in which he proves the inferiority of Group A and makes the conclusion that their contribution to utopia is minimal and would not make any difference if they live or die. Is he liable for incitement to genocide?
So, which part of 25 really is incitement? Or 25 or 25?
25(3)(e).
E, which says what?
In respect of the crime of genocide, directly and publicly incites others to commit genocide.
Okay, so direct and public incitement. To incite, what does it mean? To provoke someone.
So,
Yeah.
what's the difference between incitement and moral aiding and abetting?
Okay, so it's the difference mens rea, the different ways you do it. So if we discuss incitement, the elements for incitement, then, I think it can be easy to understand the difference. So for incitement is to provoke someone, to do something. But for incitement to genocide, you need to have what criteria satisfied? It needs to be direct and public. Okay, the incitement needs to be direct and public. So direct is direct incitement, or the direct part of the incitement is when the recipients understand exactly what you want to say, or what you want them, what you incite them to do. Okay. So if it is clear, if they understand exactly, all right? I think that, the kind of information when we do genocide. So it needs to be direct, shouldn't be indirect. It can be explicit or it can be implicit. Okay. And it's contextual. Okay. So if in a certain context, I'm pretty sure here in India you can use pejorative terms for people or whatever, right? Or instead of talking about murder, you could say, something, a nice word, which, people understand it means murder or kill or something, right? I mean, you can use all the nice words, right? You can use any kind of word that, can identify, people, etc. So if the people that receive the message understand, what it means like given, then that's direct. And it needs to be public. Public is through public means, okay, etc.
So what's the mens rea in this crime?
Okay. The mens rea is to incite, to provoke, and that the others commit genocide. Okay. So I want to provoke you not to commit kill a specific group, to destroy, to kill people in order to destroy a specific group. Okay, so that's the mens rea. I think I mentioned that in the genocide when we did the seminar, that in the Akayesu case, the court said that in addition to that, the person that incites needs also to have the genocidal intent. That, you know, he needs himself, you know, have the mens rea or the global speciality of committing genocide, which is a bit of too much, because incitement is, you know, when you incite someone to commit a crime, it's not necessarily that you want to commit the crime, you just do it for love. You know, just want to see someone going to prison, for example. Okay, that's an extreme thing, but it's not necessarily that you want yourself to commit a crime. So that's the mens rea, to incite others and that the others commit genocide. So, no, I thought someone asked a question. So in this case, and I think I mentioned a case last time, you know, I was so tired, so I forgot the name about the rapper. So it's the Bikini case. So that's the case with the rapper that, you know, he was found guilty for incitement to genocide. And in the Rwanda case, in the Rwanda genocide, one of the kind of big cases, the immediate case, where the radio was playing, inciting people to commit genocide. So the owners of the radio, directors or whatever, they were found guilty for inciting genocide because of the public, it was public radio, direct, they could understand exactly, and there was a mens rea to incite others to commit genocide. So if we put it here, what do we think? I mean, professors would say, I mean, perhaps, you know, for the last kind of week, I said things that perhaps in your ears you might be strange or something, you know, kind of off the mark or off the cuff comments about killing people, about certain go out and do genocide and mention that. So I said that you know how to commit genocide, uses it. Do I incite you to commit genocide? Well, you know, you don't go to the police. So I'm leaving tomorrow. So did I incite you? So what do you think in this case?
I think specificity is missing. So the specific crime needs to be somewhere mentioned that you.
Okay. Is it public in the first place? Or someone say, you know, who reads you know, professors' things, you know, who reads them? Unfortunately, you have to bear with us if you read our stuff. So, you know, we have an audience, kind of a captive audience. So students are captive audiences. So it is public, it's written. So for genocide, you know, it's not necessarily that, because genocide is very, it's a very serious crime. That's why incitement to genocide is also criminalized. So anything that may, risk for whatever reason. So it is published, okay, it's an academic journal, this, but you good students, you read all the academic journals. And, you know, you may be influenced, by reading it, So it is public. Is it direct?
So the manuscript is just highlighting the lack of validity value addition of group A as a part of the society, but it is nowhere calling for crime of genocide, or it's just a comment about the lack of value addition and not an incitement for committing genocide or killing them.
Okay. But again, everything is contextual.
Right.
So, for example, if, Second World War, they were saying the Jews were dirty, the other stuff, they pollute us, they take our jobs, then, it can create this idea that they're useless, so they shouldn't be there. Okay, so what I want to say is contextual. It may not appear as calling for genocide, right? But you have to put it in a context. If you have a group here or in any other country that, people may think that there are, whatever, they don't offer backward, they don't offer anything to society, etc. And the society needs to be cleansed, if I put it this way, from that group. It may be interpreted as get rid of them, right? Get rid of them in a serious way. All right, so that's and of course you have to have the intent, of course you have to prove whether you wanted to provoke them, to commit genocide. Okay, so it's all the other stuff, but the role of this case is to identify the issues, not to give 100% answer, because you can argue it both ways. Okay, so, well, with that I hope that, it's, there's a better understanding now how the Article 25 works and the different problems that may be raised. And since this is the last seminar, it was very intensive, so I just want to thank all of you for taking this course. I hope you kind of learned something new. It may have been quite heavy, the reading, and I hope that what you learned you use it for all the good purposes in the future. And I have to say, and I said it many times to your professors and the vice chancellor, that I was really impressed by the quality and the level and the hard work by you, the level of knowledge, intelligence, how hardworking you are, and just want to say to congratulate you for that. I know that the university is one of the top universities with top students, and it's evident that it is. And also a big thank you to your teachers, because I think they contribute as well to your own development. So big thanks, congratulations, and I'm pretty sure you